What's up, y'all? And thanks for stopping by the Surge T channel. I am Surge T, and tonight SmackDown took place. I'm gonna give my rundown and thoughts. Cena opened up SmackDown, and he gives a letter grade to Roman. He says Roman gets a D, D head, D bag, and a disappointment. And then he says that Reigns will get an F from Cena. What? A fight? An FU? What kind of F? What does he mean? Just the grade, or is he going to be cutesy with that too? You know. And he's talking about it. He says, "Will Reigns beat Cena at SummerSlam?" Tells the crowd. He asks the crowd. He gets a mixed reaction. And Cena does say that Reigns will beat him. You know. In other words, say he's going to put a beat down on him, but he's going to lose. Then Reigns' music hits, and Cena loves to push those buttons. And Reigns doesn't want to waste time. Cena claims he won't waste time and he will embarrass him on the biggest stage of them all. I didn't know that it was SummerSlam. I mean, I didn't know it was WrestleMania already. Don't they reserve that for WrestleMania? But is Cena, the only hope to take down the Tribal Chief? After 10 years of build-up, the WWE has failed because it ain't Roman's show. It's the WWE Universe's show. Despite what you want to say about Roman Reigns, he has more than measured up to what WWE wants. Yeah, we understand that when WWE was pushing him on us, when everybody wanted him to be a heel and they kept trying to push him on us as baby faces, that's where they failed. But I've never ever doubted or even said that Roman Reigns isn't the talented guy that he is. It says WWE, and up until recently when he got his heel turn, that's when things started clicking. But he did a lot as part of the Shield, and then when he became a singles competitor, did good. But Cena's just pushing the agenda of WWE. They want him to do the whole typical thing that Cena does, and that's pushing people's buttons and doing what he's doing. You know. But then Reigns, Reigns is like, he wants Cena to not be like a broken record, the same thing, the same old, this, the same old that. And then Cena states that Roman will beat his ass. And all Cena has to do is pin him 1, 2, 3. When he said Raw, I said Cena, he says that Roman will beat his ass. But all Cena has to do, even though he's going to get his ass beat, is pin him 1, 2, 3. He said this the whole time that he was talking. All I have to do is 1, 2, 3. That's all that matters. Is 1, 2, 3. And Reigns gives him respect. The fact that Cena's on the cusp of 17 championships. He even gives a jab at Nikki Bella. He's talking about, he talks about the typical missionary position. That's what all Cena wants, and that's the reason why Nikki Bella left him. You know. And that's why, and then Cena mentions Rollins and even Dean Ambrose. Roman Reigns ran him out of the company. You get a boo from the crowd, you get or an ooh from the crowd. He even took a jab at CM Punk, saying that once he gets the title, he's going to jump over the barricade and maybe even blow a kiss. We got to remember when the unification match, when they both had the WWE Championship and they wanted to make it into one. And then Punk won and then ran. Mr. McMahon was even at ringside and he couldn't catch CM Punk and and all that. So was that a little bit of what you call that? A little bit of sour grapes because CM Punk is rumored to be signed with AEW. There's no mention of it yet. Even though people are saying, but where is the definite? I've seen some other reports saying that that he may show up at such and such event and it will solidify or verify that he is with the company. So, Now, after that, that's pretty much it. Cena said what he said and he just drops the mic and walks out. And it was a pretty decent, segment. The typical stuff going back and forth, the way Cena talks the way Roman does. It almost seems like it's just an extended version of last week or the previous week whenever they both were both in the ring. Now, Intercontinental Title Championship match. Remember that King Nakamura pinned Apollo Crews during a tag team match, so he gets a shot at the title. So Apollo Crews defends his championship against King Nakamura with Rick Boogs in his corner. And after both Rick Boogs and what do you call it was Commander Aziz was kicked out of the ring by the referee, sent away to the back, sent to the back. It's only them one on one, and you know what happens when Paul Cruz doesn't have an enemy backup. Yep, the obvious did happen, and that is that a Kinshasa was delivered by the King onto Paulo Cruz, and Paulo Cruz is the former champion because now the King is the new champ for a second time, and that's cool to see. And congrats to Nakamura. Now Montez Ford looks to get some payback at the expense of Otis of the Alpha Academy, or so I thought, but it's actually a tag team match. And the Profits get the win as Dawkins pins Gable with a pop-up twisting neck breaker. You've seen Montez Ford do a suicide dive. And if he hadn't put his hand out to kind of stop, just kind of stop his momentum so that he didn't overflip, it would have been pretty ugly. But he landed safely. Quick thinking on Montez Ford's, on his part. So we didn't see him out with another injury. And the next segment, man, what is up with Rollins' suit? When he came out, combined with the flashing Titantron graphics behind him, I almost had a seizure. And I feel sorry for the people that have epilepsy because he probably ended up having a seizure. Did someone create his, suit from curtains in one of those hotels? Those real fancy, high-class hotels that have those real gaudy, curtains that have all these patterns on it. Is that where he made it from? And then did Rollins get the obnoxious laugh gimmick from Bayley? Because, WWE needs to keep that going since they want to annoy us incessantly. And then, we get a side-by-side retrospective of Rollins and Edge's career. And I'm still Team Edge. I'm still Team Edge. And Rollins is done and all, but Edge is that much more better. Like he likes to say, Rollins. I am that much more better. And the thing about it, though, is that he was all serious, right? And he was all, just so intense. And then he does that stupid laugh at the end. I'm thinking, enough with that stupid laugh. We got it, WWE. You want to annoy us that are tired of it. Because it is. It doesn't make any sense when he does that. That's probably trying to be, that's his character. But it's where's it's like with Bayley, same thing too. She would just laugh for no fucking reason whatsoever. And, when she would do that, and then, you see Bianca Belair kind of looking at her like, why are you laughing? There's just no point of laughing. But during WWE, they probably did that because we know that using Bianca as she's representing us, complaining. WWE likes to do that. He likes to stick it to us. But that was that. Edge didn't show up. People wanted to see Edge, and Edge didn't show up. Now, here I am thinking, when will the Mysterios explode? It will happen, as WWE, they're always about the best friends becoming bitter enemies and family drama. So we will see. Now, they face Ziggler and Rude, and we get it, their commentary team. Ray is teaching his son. Dominic is learning from his from his dad. Dominic this and Ray that. I know what you're trying to do. You get us to get so invested into their father and son relationship, and then poof, you spring a breakup on us or a backstab. Either it would be Ray on his son or Dominic on his dad. WWE, you're very predictable. We know this is where it's going to go. But if enough of us complain, you won't go that way because you don't want to, make us look like we know what we're talking about. So, okay. And in the end, of the way, the Mysterios win this match with a fruit roll-up. I mean, a roll-up. I mean, come on, WWE. How is that endorsement deal coming with fruit roll-ups? Because, again, roll-ups are the order of the day every time a lot of these matches. That's ways to win the match. I understand that. I get it. But every time almost, gets to the point, man, where it's like, come on, get creative. But then again, we know about creative, right, in WWE. Now, let's move on to this next thing. I'll tell you, Corbin, makes me sick. He's disheveled, unshaven, same old stinking shirt that probably smells to high heaven. I mean, not probably. He probably does. And I'm done caring about this. I was kind of into it. But I'm like, get to it already. What is the end game with this, I was just thinking that I hope that those guys wash that shirt and they somehow just allow that stain to stay there so that you could tell that, because when you look at the shirt now, it's all wrinkled as if he's sleeping in his shirt and all that stuff. And then this needs to stop. And then even KO came out and said that, and I agree. And then he agrees to help Corbin if Corbin beats him in a match. But if Stinky Corbin loses, he needs to stop with the sob story. Stop with the sob story and stop asking for handouts. And he hits Corbin with a stunner before the match starts. He's groggy as the match we come back from break. And after a somewhat decent effort by old Stinky Corbin, he loses after KO goes for a sunset flip and pins Corbin. Now, no more begging for money for the WWE Universe there, Corbin. And then we see him later on, and that fool runs off with Big E's Money in the Bank briefcase. Does this mean that he has it? I've seen some headlines that it says like where this Corbin storyline is heading. I've not watched the video. Is this part of it? Is he going to somehow have it, and then Big E's going to challenge him, or they're going to wrestle for it? Whoever wins gets it, and then Corbin gets it, and then he successfully cashes in and becomes champion. WWE has been staying with Corbin throughout his entire career, giving him opportunities one after the other, and I think one day they're going to pull the trigger and they're going to make him the overall champion. I mean, they're investing in him. Sometimes his gimmicks or his feuds are like, especially the one that he had, that tired old feud that he had with, which was getting really on people's nerves with Roman Reigns. They just kept going and kept going and kept going and going and wasn't going anywhere. But they've kept him in, storylines. They've given him feuds and rivalries. So I guess it's going to pay off one day. Now, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks have their contract signing. And Sonya Deville with her over-the-top intros. Yeah, we get it, Sonya. The EST, we get it. The legit boss. The way she was commenting, she was saying it so loud. I'm like going, yeah, we got it. They don't need any hyping up. They're their own hype man, hype woman, however you want to call it. She's getting into it, I guess. Whatever, you know what I mean. But a little bit, too much, a little bit over the top. And as we all know, with these things, with these contract signings, things got heated immediately, and Deville had to stop it, and she ordered the two to sign the contracts now, and we're very emphatic now. But Sasha needed witnesses before she signs, and then Carmella and Zelina come out, and I'm thinking, are these guys a new faction? Is that her new backup? Is that her muscle? Like I told you, Zelina Vega, even though she's very talented in the ring, but on her own, they don't push her right. And it's like she needs to just be with somebody, to be in a faction, to manage somebody. Because that's her strength when it comes, especially when it comes to WWE. Because WWE only uses that and they highlight that more than anything. And Carmella, come on. I'm getting tired of Carmella, very much. Here she is, not as a challenger to the championship, but here she is in a championship situation. Where she is, I guess she's in the corner of the boss, I don't know. And then after, all signing and all of it's said and done, and then all hell breaks loose. And then the numbers game is too much for the champ as Sasha ends up delivering a backstabber, and then she uses Belair's own braid to choke her out. As she has her in the bank statement. I mean, Bianca was beating the asses of both Carmella and Zelina Vega. You know, she tossed you know, Zelina into the turnbuckle and then threw Carmella out. And then when she did that, then that's when Sasha snuck up and hit her with the backstabber. She was even telling her, you know, like Bianca was telling her, you know, when are you gonna hit me? You know, when you turn around so you can hit me with the backstabber, you know, and talking about how if she wanted a title shot, she just had to ask her. And then Sasha's like, you know, pretty much saying that, you know, she didn't come back to make friends, and she, like, you know, pretty much she doesn't need to ask her. And you know, and more or less what she was saying. And then you know, what happened. So it just goes to show that oftentimes contract signings are always the same. Sometimes they don't end up like that, but sometimes, most of the time, they do. We all know that. And I'm excited for this match. It looks good because I mean, are they gonna do the same thing in regards to WrestleMania? They might not, but it probably will still be a good match. There's a lot of history now between them. There's a lot of emotion, a lot of history between them. Of course, it's going to be a pretty intense match. You know, especially how they've been building it up. And Sasha really wants her title back. She didn't. She didn't. She doesn't approve, or not approve, but she doesn't take too kindly that in her thinking that Bianca, you know, took all her glory, took all of her spotlight, but they pretty much were sharing it, halting with the ESPYS and with main eventing, you know, WrestleMania and all of this coverage, being on, you know, on all these magazines and stuff and interviews. You know, I've seen some of them and they're pretty much out of character. They're like praising each other. You know, if you're gonna keep that as part of your storyline, how about you guys be like how you're supposed to be? You know what I mean? How you are in front of the cameras in WWE. You know what I mean? So that's what I was just thinking. Oh, it looks like those guys were kind of praising each other. And then Sasha wants to come on as the boss character and go, you know, you've been taking all of the glory and hogging all of the spotlight. The reason why is because you've been out for how many months? She claimed that it was the braid that caused the, you know, you know, she, you know, lashed at her with her braid and it made a cut. And she said that it took her, that's what took her out since WrestleMania. You know, I mean, you know, I mean, I know that don't they treat that right away? They put antiseptic on it, clean the wound, antiseptic on it, bandage it up so that it doesn't get no air, nothing. You know what I mean? Like it's going to cause her to be out for how many months? Number of months. But yeah, I mean SmackDown was decent. You know, it wasn't bad. Uh, rudimentary stuff, pretty much the same. But I still was entertained more than I would on Raw. Because I just don't know what it is. I guess because, like I said, the writers, you know, and how, you know, even though it's the same thing sometimes with SmackDown, but at least it's entertaining. It doesn't seem like they're using something else to make it like, oh, you know, we're just too lazy this week. We just don't want to write too much. So let's just use what we used last week. Because Raw is like a carbon copy of its previous week. SmackDown can use some same elements, but it doesn't look like a carbon copy at all. So I don't, you know, understand how it's impossible for Raw to be consistent in the sense of consistently having entertaining stuff, not consistently using what they used last week. You know, but yeah, that's my video for SmackDown, Friday Night Smackdown for August 13th, 2021, which was Friday the 13th. Hopefully, y'all didn't bump into some black cats as you were driving down the road and other spookies and ghouls out there, you know. But, you know, so anyway, that's my video. So for those of you who stopped by, check that out. Appreciate it. And in closing, as always, take care.